Here we go. My name is Ed Howie, and this is How We Grow a Brand. If you like what you learned from this video, help us promote this channel by clicking the like button below and subscribing to our channel, How We Grow a Brand. Ready to go? Let's get into today's chat. Woohoo! It's your lucky day. Nichelle Pace is back to How We Grow a Brand. And let me tell you a little bit about Nichelle and why you're going to be really thankful to spend a little more time with us today. Nichelle is a seasoned media and creative arts professional. She's got over 20 plus years of experience in the film, video production, as well as lifestyle marketing and advertising agency background. She has led award-winning campaigns in large shops from New York to Chicago. She has been the steward of many global and domestic brands, including Procter & Gamble, Estee Lauder, Hendrick's Gin, Stoli Vodka, RJ Reynolds, and Sharp Electronics. So Nichelle has led clients with purpose across integrated digital and social marketing efforts, as well as she successfully developed and increased client revenue for small and mid-sized agencies in the Mid-Atlantic region. Now, serving as an industry expert and speaker panelist, Nichelle has been featured in publications, podcasts, television, and at leading marketing and social media conferences such as Revision Path, Social Media Week, New York, Blogger Conference, Blogacious Conference, NYC 3-Day Startup, Mashable Social Media Day, Essence Magazine, CBS Early Show, and the Today Show. Her entrepreneurial spirit is contagious. Her experience and leadership in the marketing community firmly lays a tremendous foundation for her, in which she transitioned to opening her own boutique creative agency, Brand Enchanting Media. So not only has she opened her own firm, she's celebrating over 5 years of entrepreneurial independence. And beyond all that she has done, you're about to spend some time with a most amazing human who brings candor and grace and incredible perspective to topics that matter way more than marketing. Welcome, Nichelle. Hello, Nichelle.
Hello, Howie. Hello, Ed.
So over 5 years ago, you started your own business, so you can definitely relate to the life of an entrepreneur, but you've also worked with global brands in the heart and the center of the ad machine, right? The ad industry. You know, so tell me about, so you describe your business as culturally responsible. Why do you have to define that for your business? Aren't all businesses culturally responsible?
No, they're not.
Yeah,
because it's kind of super appropriate that we are having our conversation on the anniversary of the largest social justice incident to date in our current lifetime of George Floyd. But it's important, I think, that you set yourself apart, because as we've seen even prior to the social justice movement starting, brands were taking heat for not really understanding the diverse cultures that they serve, their diverse consumers. And, whether it would be the Pepsi faux pas or the H&M issue with some of their advertising, a lot of people had not put being culturally responsible and understanding the vast nuances across many cultures, many age groups, many demographics. That was never at the center of their advertising. It was all about getting the next Clio, getting the next big award. It was never about the people and about the culture. We are culture shapers as marketers and advertisers. And you have to be responsible when you hold that level of power in shaping people's attitudes, their thoughts, their wants, their needs. And that's what we do as marketers and advertisers. We shape culture and we persuade, so with that level of persuasion comes some responsibility. So we wanted to make sure our brands and our partners that we work with understood that we were going to be responsible stewards to their brands with an eye for creativity, as well as being culturally relevant.
It's one of those things like Hispanic marketing, if you will. is that, I grew up in North Carolina. I lived in Atlanta, then moved here in 2000. There were several large Hispanic marketing firms. And it always kind of caught me a little off guard. It's like, why do we have to market differently to Hispanics than we do other people? Because they're consumers like we are. So how do you bridge the gap of being targeted to like one community, if you will, and being deliberate to one community, but then maintaining that multicultural responsibility?
Well, first of all, I don't believe in the term general market. I think all marketing is multicultural marketing. General market to
look
me
around
is
your
dead.
store, people.
Right. If you look in your store, or if you say, let's pick CVS, you go to CVS, I guarantee you're going to find at least a dozen different cultures in there, at least a dozen, at your grocery store, those types of things. So it's not as though niche agencies that have done cultural marketing to a certain segment well are not important to the process. They definitely are. What is the problem is when people and brand marketers start making their marketing plans, it's an other instead of it being inclusive.
Central.
Like when I do my media plan, yes, I should have diverse publications that, go to various audiences that are within, my target market audience. And some of those may be Hispanic publications. Some of those may be Asian publications. Some of those may be African-American publications, but they should all be in the same media plan. I shouldn't have to separate marketing based on the various groups. We should have the same messaging because our consumers like my product for usually the same reasons. Now, we may need to translate some things for our Hispanic channel.
We do a great deal of that. Yep.
We may need to translate some things for our Asian American channels. We may need to, translate and customize the copy for other groups, whether it be moms or African Americans. So we can customize that on the execution level, but the strategy has to be inclusive, where your entire marketing plan should be inclusive. If you have, 5 different groups that are your main set of consumers, all of those should be included. You shouldn't separate and give the lowest budget to your consumers based on their ethnicity or their cultural heritage. That makes zero sense to me.
Well, and what I love about the fact that you say culturally responsible, okay, as opposed to being multicultural. Culturally responsible is that it's not about equity for like queuing sake, or for projecting sake, we're going to be equitable. It's be responsible, be thoughtful, be deliberate about it, but don't do it as like an et cetera or an other, because are there really others in our world? We're all humans. And we all have similar needs. The way we live our lives may be different. The things that resonate for us may be different, which I want to get into some of those in a few minutes. But the reality is that we're past the point of any type or set of human as being a other. We're humans, right?
Yeah, absolutely. And it should be human-centered. Everything we do should be centered in our humanity. And humanity comes in so many shapes and forms. That doesn't mean, again, that it's the other. It's an afterthought. You mentioned, why we had that tagline for our agency, because so many agencies are coming into having diverse and equitable, inclusive perspectives after the fact. This was not what you were built on. This is what our agency is built on.
Right.
And that's why we wanted to set ourselves apart, because we're built on a foundation of diversity, equity, inclusion. We're not bringing it to the table and now we got to hire DE&I folks because we weren't built on equity in the first place.
Right. No, and so with that perspective and with the fact that you've been like at the epicenter of the advertising industry, what are, looking back, I think about 20 some years, right? What are one or two of the things, and again, we're not trying to slam anybody, right? That's not the objective of this. This is like education, inspiration, and a little hope and joy too, right? What were, as a Black female in that industry, what were one or two of the three things that shocked, if not horrified you?
One, and I'm not going to say the brand or the agency.
No, we don't do that.
So one, I was working with an intimate apparel brand for women, right? And this is more gender specific, not ethnic specific.
And it's not all ethnic, right?
No, it's not. I didn't even go down the gender pipeline. That's a whole other ball of wax, but it's all inclusive in the conversation. So there was a strategy being developed on Q&A of women about their underwear. And the people in the strategy meeting were all men, and they didn't decide to bring any of the women that either worked on the account or worked at the agency into the strategy meeting to talk about women's underwear.
Yeah.
I was mortified. I was frustrated, and I was angry. Did we end up in a meeting? Yes, we did. Because I said it was the most irresponsible thing they could do. And if the client could see three men in a meeting strategizing over women's apparel, they would be mortified as well.
Wow.
But it's like, it just went over their heads. It was just like, oh, they were all three white males.
Yeah. Yeah.
But, me and another young lady, we went in, and she was our operations head. I was like, look, I'm the most senior. We are the two most senior women here. I actually work on the account. I know you just work on the finances, but I need you in here too, because
she's a consumer, right? She's a human.
Right.
Yeah, exactly.
And it was just, that was one of the most obnoxious takes.
So let me ask you a question. Let me ask you a question about that real quick. Is when you brought it to the attention of the white guys, was it that they were deliberately trying to exclude women, or was it they were just being stupid and didn't think about it?
It's never, a lot of times it's not deliberate. You know what I mean? A lot of times it comes from a space of, we know better, and we know enough to handle this subject matter. And my thing is this, I believe in being a consummate learner. I don't think any leader should think they have all the answers to everything, or anyone that wishes to be in leadership. I think it's important for anyone that is leading in any capacity is to always seeking outside diverse perspectives, and to make sure you have enough of those diverse perspectives at the table to make a really true informed decision. So a lot of times it's not done from a malicious, but more from almost a pretentious nature of, we know enough. And that's problematic. That people think that they could sit in rooms of that and make these decisions on something that doesn't even affect them.
Well, and I think pretentious, but I also think reckless. If we're stewards for ensuring that we are helping facilitate messaging that resonates, that how reckless is to not have inclusion in the formulation of the strategy. And that inclusion isn't, in my mind, like checking off a quota list and doing it just so we look good. No, it's like, are we truly engaging the right minds in the right conversation? So what's another example? Another example is back when... I know you have many, unfortunately.
I know. Back when big tobacco was kind of all the rage, I did work on a tobacco products. I also was, I had a lot of vice products back in the day, alcohol, tobacco, pharmaceutical. I still consider that a vice product. So we were in a meeting talking about where a lot of our out-of-home advertising went. And I brought up that the targeting was less than advantageous for the African-American community because they were not the only smokers of menthol cigarettes per the data. And it was a more diverse set, but yet the targeting was always put in certain neighborhoods that were mostly populated by Black and brown people. And at the same time, the Truth campaign was out, and quiet as it's kept, the Truth campaign was really some of that money came from the tobacco industry because they had to put up as part of some of the legal issues that was going on back then for targeting younger folks. So we made sure the targeting went to adults only. We diversified things, but, I kind of put my career on the line because I challenged the VP, SVP of this major global tobacco company about how they were targeting Black neighborhoods. But as a Black woman, I have my seat at the table. I can't let this moment pass me by without saying anything. And to this day, I'm still friends with a lot of them, and we've all moved on to different parts of our careers. And a lot of them bring it up. It's like, I can't believe you sat in that meeting that one day and you really called out the targeting of our neighborhoods. And and mind you, this was a diverse group of people. You had leaders of color there. On the client side, a lot of times you find a little bit more diversity than you will on the agency side. But again, people don't want to lose their job. But I felt as though it was time for me to kind of speak up about that. And they did take a hard look at that and at some of the suggestions to, in this case, we needed to be more diverse, not for more ethnic inclusion, but to not target people, with the product because that just wasn't good health-wise for that community.
Nichelle, thank you. I look forward to continuing this conversation. Always a joy.
Thanks, Ed.
See you. I hope this helps and inspires your day. If any of this works on your business this week, I'd love to hear about it in the comments or please message me directly. Can't wait to see what we chat about on the next episode. We'll see you soon.